yeah, I think that's also kind of the vision of HashGuild, you know. Um,
I think that that's amazing to put the power, as many options and as many choices in the hands of the users. Like I love the fact that, because if you start accumulating, I mean, for me, I'm a little bit of a Hedera NFT degen over the past couple of years. I haven't I still say this today, like I haven't sold any Hedera NFTs yet, and that's on me, that's my decision. But to be a registered user, to be a user on HashGuild, and to have offers on NFTs that because it's overwhelming sometimes to be like, I want to list this and I want to list this at floor, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but to like literally be able to receive offers, I think that's absolutely fantastic. And you see that through like things like OpenSea and other things right now. So I haven't seen that yet on Hedera. So that's awesome that the HashGuild platform is facilitating that. You talked a little bit about volume as well. And I would love to hear kind of your thoughts around, you look at, the Ethereum, the Solana networks and the NFTs and the marketplaces and volumes being, near all-time lows, like 90% down in this bear market. And you look at Hedera, maybe you could tell the audience a little bit what we've experienced on Hedera for the past 5-6 months, constant milestones being hit, volumes and everything else. So.
I mean, I'm maybe starting off like that. Like, we also went into a fundraising round a few months ago, having onboarded Outlier Ventures, one of our investors, for example. So, and also back then, like the typical pitch, how powerful can be the NFT market on Hedera. And I remember back then in Q1, I think it was late Q1, a kind of analytics or and kind of a report about the Hedera NFT ecosystem and its growth factor or potential. And I remember this statistic pretty clear. That was about in 2022 we kind of expect like a year-to-year growth rate of 2,500% of NFTs being traded. I was like, it's a significant number. And I think two major impacts play into this whole ecosystem gamble, the versus type of thing, like Ethereum versus Solana, Solana versus Hedera, and so on and so forth. First thing, the general potential of a network in terms of the mass adoption and the general usage, right? When we talk about mass adoption, I definitely believe that the enterprise focus is a super important and crucial part of it. But I also do have to say, we don't have to expect that everybody needs to be onboarded to Web3 tools, right? It also sometimes is sufficient enough to use the technology in a Web2 solution, just having it in the background. I think we sometimes really forget about this as, we're talking about the technology. Technology has to be used. We don't want to create like another world, like, it's also fine enough to use the Hedera network or Hashgraph itself to improve Web2 dynamics. So I think this is a crucial part, having this coverage on the sustainability of a network. I think it's also super healthy for our own ecosystem that we don't rely too much on FOMO, as we've seen it on other networks. I think it's something really healthy for our own sake, but also for the longevity of all projects building in the ecosystem. And I think right now also the bear market in general, with this whole FTX stuff, don't want to go too much deep into it. I think everybody talked about it, but it clearly highlights certain pitfalls on existing ecosystems, how they're connected, how healthy also their token distribution to their shareholders is, and so on and so forth. And I think it's right now a great timing for us who haven't too much relied on the typical FOMO play, to be like one of the better offs in the long run or after this bear market. So yeah, pretty excited about the future. also pretty excited about how the actual trading volume in total, right? In perspective will look like. 'Cause I think I've seen statistics, I think 2 days ago, something like that, like 13,000 US dollars trading volume per day on Hedera, and in comparison 1 million or 1.5 on Ethereum. So there's still a clear, difference in it. But I think we have so much time, so much potential. I think right now it's a time to listen to the users, to listen to the community, and build for them and by example.
Yeah, I love what you stated about Web 2 to Web 3, because there's hundreds of billions of dollars that have been invested into Web 2 infrastructure. And you hear a lot of projects saying that or networks or platforms, saying that we're going to immediately go to Web 3 for X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, there's probably a middle ground, especially for mass adoption. You utilize the tool sets that have already been built out for Web 2 and then inject value from Web 3 where it makes sense for the user, right? And you talked a little bit about partnerships and collaborations, or at least early investors. I know you said Outlier Ventures, I believe also a recipient from the foundation. Are there any other interesting partnerships, collaborations that you guys may have down the pike? And then maybe if you could pivot a little bit, because I looked into, it looks like you guys are going to have a token launch, if I'm not mistaken. And is that going to be early next year? Can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe drop us some alpha around that.
Yeah. All right. So at first, yes. I mean, yeah, already mentioned that Outlier Ventures, HashPack Foundation, Filecoin. We have them kind of bundled. Also aligning with them, talking on a monthly basis to them in terms of further partnership building. We also, for example, are in connection with 2 council members, and let's see how collaborations can further be built. Like at the end of the day, if somebody wants to make use of NFT infrastructure, and we perhaps are infrastructure provider, there might be a smart way to align or combine, the interest fields, fasten up things, and
Yeah, when what you really look at too is, I think a lot of the times you see like, okay, that there's NFTs listed on a marketplace, or there's a platform that has NFTs right now, but what a lot of people don't look at is like what that really is wallet connectivity and measuring data. So there's all sorts of different things you could do with measuring data across even enterprises.
And you also have to realize that even when we're talking about NFTs, right, we are still in a kind of early stage environment. Because I'm not the technical person in our team, to be honest, but I also know that, or I perhaps think, correct me if I'm wrong, that we haven't yet have the opportunity, for example, to make use of dynamic NFTs, or at least dynamic NFTs in the way that where the data from from dynamic NFTs, you have a certain connectivity to a database that gets activated, deactivated, or updated throughout a certain time, when certain actions have been made. But what about this database, right? Is it centralized? Is it decentralized? I think there's like a pitfall over there. So let's see where everything goes. And I think also in terms of NFTs, it's a super broad topic, right? It's not just about like art and collectibles. Like you can literally individualize everything, and it's just like what are we really in need of, right? What makes a payoff, or makes us better off when we utilize NFTs, or at least the technology behind it. And I think that's the core interest. Corporations, enterprises, specifically more focus on it, because just hopping on the trend is not significant enough to really make an impact, but also pitch this kind of change to the advisory board and the investors. So it really needs to be a payoff in a certain way, right? So I think there's still a lot of opportunities in there. I know that the Swirl Labs is also highly focused on improving the overall infrastructure. We're also in discussion with them about typical smart contract, as we've also not seen too much of them, and we really want to go into this completely decentralized way, because we've seen what doesn't work out, and it's decentralized, even though it's in a package of Web3. So yeah, like there's still a lot we have to build up. There's still a lot we have to think about in terms of execution and right execution. And maybe talking shortly about the token. Yes, it was in the plan, but coming from an economical perspective, launching a token in a bear market is not that well of an idea. Talked to a lot of investors. We set up a whole token distribution design model with them. Also discussed the possibility of what happens, if it kind of aligns to be a market, and we kind of agreed that it's right now time to build. But of course, also in combination with our users, launching a token doesn't mean that you value your stakeholders or you bring them into this typical DAO design structure. This is what we try to establish from time to time, even without the token. And so yeah, I think there are like plenty of opportunities also without the token to incentivize new joiners to the ecosystem to benefit from the infrastructure we are providing. And if it's time to recover from this whole bear market situation, then I think it also makes sense again to talk about the token launch. But yeah, I think there are right now more important parts and more important more priorities to make. And yeah.
No, I appreciate the answer. I mean, totally. As far as, in closing, I mean, where would you like to drive people to? Is it the Twitter? Is it the actual HashGuild platform? I did see that you guys actually have feedback rewards going on for, is that still going on as far as, testing?
Yeah, absolutely. Will be an ongoing campaign. And we are also, like you're doing the interview right now with us, we are doing an interview with our users, also with non-users who are in the Hedera space, to kind of figure out, what we have to improve, what is the need of the users from collectors and creator side, and handing out like a little reward for, handing over the information. So yeah, as I said, building really user-centric. I think that's a really important one.
Yeah, 100%. So
and
go ahead.
And yeah, for reaching out, I think the easiest, smoothest way is through Twitter at hashguild, or via our website itself, hashguild.xyz. And we are also right now building up a full guide or a blog site where we literally also kind of informationally onboard users to really realize how, for example, the offering works, how the launchpad works, how staking works. So really putting it into works, into some nice kind of onboarding research hub. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to launch it. We'll of course announce it on Twitter at HashGuild. And you can also check out our Discord. Everything is linked with Twitter. And yeah, happy to chat. Also happy to answer further questions. As always, we're pretty responsive also when it comes to bugs, errors, ticketing. We have automated ticketing system in our Discord, implementing the same on our website soon. So yeah, more than happy to assist on any kind of sense.
Oh no, that's awesome, Marcel. I really appreciate it. So we're definitely going to have this up through Genfinity and the Hedera corner that we facilitate. I know HashPack is going to have this in their community section as well. The goal for us is, just like you guys stated, you're going to educate your users. We're trying to educate the community as much as possible on all the ecosystem initiatives that are going on right now. Certainly look forward to having another discussion with you in the near future, because it's going to be awesome to see where the HashGuild platform is at, even a month, 2 months, 3 months down the road. So I appreciate you taking time out today. I know how insanely busy you probably are, and look forward to having another discussion in the future, Marcel. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure. See you soon.